Today we're going to be talking about the last resort step when discipline doesn't work. So I've talked about on this channel before the power of discipline and how discipline is something you should be cultivating far more than inspiration. Inspiration and passion and stuff like that is fleeting. It kind of comes and goes whenever it fucking feels like. It doesn't help you out really that much in the long term, and it's not exactly a reliable source of motivation. So what you should do instead is cultivate discipline. Discipline is when you do things even when you don't want to do them because you know long term that it's going to be beneficial. Discipline is basically harnessing the power of habit. By making something habitual, you do it kind of instinctively. It feels odd not to do it. And by cultivating that and making your goals disciplined instead of passionate, all of a sudden you're going to find that you're doing them continuously, even when you don't feel like doing it, just because it's become routine, and you're going to make progress that much quicker. However, the rub in that is actually getting to the point of making something habitual. It requires repetition. The repetition, they say it's like a month. Usually if you do something every day for a month, it becomes habitual. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm particularly shitty when it comes to cultivating discipline, but it takes me far longer than a month to make something habitual. And one fuck up in the month, or however long it takes, breaks the chain. You got to start all over again. So for me, discipline, very difficult to cultivate and to kind of bring to fruition because I'm fucking lazy. So there is an option for people like me, and maybe you, if you're watching this video, to kind of coax yourself into disciplining yourself. And that is consequences. So this one is a little risky because you kind of have to put yourself in a precarious situation for real. It's the only way it's going to work. The idea, just the word probably kind of clues you into where I'm going with this. Consequences are when something bad will happen if you do not perform. It is the opposite of what you're kind of shooting for, right? You want to cultivate discipline because you want something good to happen. You want to accomplish your goals. However, we kind of know in our minds that if we slack off and play video games all day, nothing's going to happen. No one's going to get pissed off because this is our passion, this is our artwork, this is our creativity. Nobody's on our case except for us. So if we fuck off and just slack off, it doesn't matter, right? So that's really probably the most difficult part to cultivating discipline. Because like if it's something different, if it's going to school or going to work and something like that, there are already consequences, right? You're going to get your boss pissed off at you, that teachers are going to get, your parents are going to flip their shit. So like there are consequences built into these things that we have to do even though we don't want to, and that's why we fucking do them, because we want to avoid those consequences. We're basically hijacking that system and putting it into our creativity when all other options have failed and we need to get the ball rolling. So you need to decide something that you do not want and then take action that will happen for sure if you drop the ball. So there are many ways obviously to go about this, but the way that I've heard from a lot of people is usually adding some sort of financial incentive or some financial consequences for not following through. Like you'll find one of your friends, particularly one who's a dick and won't fucking let you get out of this, and write them like a blank check or whatever for like, $5,000 or however, a significant amount of money to lose, whatever your finances of that may be, and say, this is your money if I don't do this every day. Or even worse, you need to donate this to, a politician that I loathe or some sort of cause that I loathe if I don't do this. So that kind of like lights the fire under your ass and gets you going. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be a financial consequence. It can be anything that you find uncomfortable. Maybe you keep a journal and you take photos of like your 5 most embarrassing pages and you give it to your buddy and you're like, post that on social media if I don't get this shit done. Something bad that you do not want happening. The keys here is it has to be something that's really bad that you don't like and would do anything to prevent it from happening. You have to bring somebody into the equation that is, on the one hand, going to bust your balls enough to follow through if you fuck up, but also good enough that if you're giving them something self-incriminating, they're chill enough that they won't do anything with it as long as you keep up your end of the bargain. So this is a little extreme. I haven't done it yet because the one person I would trust with all these things, I know for a fact isn't enough of a hard ass to actually hold up the end of the deal if I fucked up. So I have not implemented this personally yet, but I'm getting to the point where it might need to be necessary, just to get me started on some of the things that I keep kind of putting off that I know I don't actually want to put off. And the interesting thing with, not even just the cultivating discipline, but doing this as well, is that once you start doing it, you're going to realize, why did I ever put this off to begin with? This is what I wanted to do and I like it. That seems to be my thing whenever I go on a roll for a few days before I inevitably buckle again. But advice for today. If discipline isn't working, if you can't seem to get there and the passion is obviously continuing to let you down, it's time to get extreme, and consequences might be the way to do it. So until next time, I'm Tom Oliver. This is Rebel Pixels. Remind you guys, we might be indie, but doesn't mean that we're alone. Catch you on the next one.